Welcome back to our channel and welcome back to another vlog. I was doing really good for like a week. I posted 2 videos within a week and then I just completely fell out. And some of you may be wondering why. Some of you know why. But in case you don't, I had my baby. The last video that I posted, I was doing a get ready with me for my baby shower, and that was it. And that was my baby shower was December 1st. I went into labor on December 12th, and I had my baby on December 13th. And so, before I get into all the details and all of that, I have 2 kids, so please bear with me. As you can see, Marley is sitting here. Don't know how long she'll sit here. But if she gets down, you guys might hear some noise in the background. If Maddox wakes up crying, I will have to go get him and all of that. So just bear with me and we can make it through this video. But I'm here today to just share with you guys my labor and delivery story. So I had figured that I would be going into labor before my due date ever since I started working at Enterprise. Enterprise is such a strenuous job. At times, I just figured, I'm probably going to go into labor early with all the walking and up and down and stress of the job. I'm probably going to go into labor. So I had gotten to a point at work where, we had decided that I would be shortening my hours. So instead of working 7:45 to 6, which is long as heck, I was working 9 to 5. And so that was working great for me. I had been doing that for about 3 days. And I was like, yeah, I can do this. I can stick it out. Because prior to that, I was like, I ain't going to be able to do this. I'm about to go on maternity leave and just chill at the house. But I was like, no, I'm going to stick it out. They abbreviated the schedule for me. Everything was gravy, right? Okay. So then Thursday, December 12th comes. And I had training scheduled. But instead of training, we did read around the Christmas tree at New Direction. And so I also had a doctor's appointment that day, so I just didn't go into work. So I went to the read around the Christmas tree, and y'all, it was packed. I had no idea. It would be that many people there, and it was beyond me. So, like, I wasn't in any hurry to get there. I was just like, I'll get there when I get there, and everything will be fine. Wrong. I get there, and New Direction is not a small church. I get there, and it is packed. All the parking spots are full. People are making parking spots in front of other parking spots on the side of the end of the road, like around the back of the building. Like, it was crazy. So I end up having to park kind of far from the door. And I walked from the car to the door, and then when it was over, from the door back to the car. And my mom is fussing like, girl, you don't need to be doing all that. You're going to go into labor. You don't need to go into labor because it's not time for you to have a baby. I'm like, like, this is fine. I walk more than this on a daily basis. So it was all good. Fast forward, Marley is sick. Marley has a fever. We had to go pick her up from daycare and take her to the doctor at like 2 o'clock. Found out that she had an ear infection. She had a fever of like 105. Like, it was a mess. So the day is already kind of chaotic as is. And so then I had a doctor's appointment. And so this was the first appointment that I had that they were going to check my cervix just to see how far I had dilated and all of that. And you guys, I don't know if you've ever had your cervix checked, but it was quite painful. I don't know why it hurt so bad, but it was a traumatic experience. Like, people in the hallway were probably like, is this lady in labor? What's going on in here? Like, what's the deal? Because I was acting up. Like, it hurt that bad. So this is about 3:30, 4 o'clock at this point. I leave my appointment. Trevor and Marley had been sitting outside in the car because Marley was sick. Trevor didn't want to bring her in. to the doctor's office with a bunch of pregnant women, because pregnant women, if they get sick, it's over with. So as soon as I leave the doctor, I start feeling cramps, and I'm like, Lord, I hope these go away. Because the night prior to that, I kind of was cramping a little bit too. And anybody that has had a child, you know, some people compare contractions to cramps just much, much, much worse. And mind you, when I had Marley, I was induced, so my contractions were on 10, like terrible. So I started having cramps. They continued and they continued throughout the evening. Trevor ended up going to work. He called one of my profiles over here so I could kind of like just relax for a second, breathe, collect myself. Get myself together. So she leaves, I'm like, it'll be okay. I'm good. I'm sure this isn't it. I felt contractions before. They were much worse. This ain't it. I took a bath, lost my mucus plug while I was taking a bath. And so I was like, okay, so I might be going into labor soon. Still thinking this not it. So I get out the tub and I lay down and me and Marley are in the bed and the contractions keep going. So I was like, let me download this contraction counter so I can keep up with them. Because the doctor told me if you start having them more frequently than every 10 minutes for an hour, then you need to go to the hospital. So I was like, okay. I'm counting my contractions. In the middle of my contractions, in the middle of my counting, the app is telling me you need to go to the hospital. Nah. And I was like, okay. So I called Trevor and I was like, Trevor, let's just go to the hospital. I'm having contractions. I'm not taking this seriously in the least bit because these feel nothing like my contractions with Marley. Like with Marley, my contractions were a beast. These were kind of like period cramps, like literally. And so I didn't pack a bag. I didn't bring anything. The only thing I grabbed was Marley in her bag because she was going to my stepmom's house, and my phone charger and my phone and the keys. And we was gone. Because I'm thinking, I'm not going to have this baby, because when I was pregnant with Marley, I went to the hospital once and they were like, nah, this ain't it. So I was like, okay, this is probably what's going to happen again. So I go to the hospital. We drop Marley out. We do all the paperwork and stuff. I had already registered online, which I did that Monday. So thankfully I did that. And so the nurse checks me, and at my doctor's appointment, I was like 3 to 4 centimeters dilated. At this point, I was 5 centimeters dilated. Mind you, my doctor gives me a prescription card that says it's fine to call me if she goes into labor or if she's in the hospital. Give this to the nurse. Nurse calls the doctor. She doesn't answer. Previously, a week before, I asked the doctor, what are the chances that I will go into labor and you will be unavailable? I asked this because I had a mishap the week prior to that, and I had to go in and see a nurse practitioner because my doctor wasn't there. So her response was basically pigs will have to be flying for her to miss the delivery of my child. So fast forward back to me being in the hospital. They're finally able to get in contact with my doctor. She's unavailable. Unavailable. So I'm like, what do we do now? Like, do I need to just go back home? And they're like, no, another doctor will have to deliver your baby. I'm like, oh, okay. And so the doctor that ended up delivering my baby, he was really nice, and he ended up being one of my Prophyte's doctor when she had her daughter. And I didn't even realize it until yesterday when I was looking back at old pictures in my phone. I had screenshotted the name. And there's no way it could have been anybody else because the name is so weird. But so they decide to keep me, and I'm like, what? I don't have a backpack. Like, I don't have a plan in place. Like, I was totally unprepared to have my baby at that point. And so I ended up getting the epidural, and it's like I was in so much disbelief the whole time. And it's like the further and further we went, the more and more I'm like, okay, well, this is it. It's no turning back now. So I was totally, totally unprepared to have my baby at this point. Like like the further we went, the more I'm like, it's no turning back. But I didn't have my bonnet. I didn't have a hair tie. Like, I had all these elaborate plans. I was going to vlog when I went into labor. I was supposed to have like a brand new lace front flowing, you know, like I had made up in my mind. If my hair wasn't done, I was going to be calling Candace to be like, meet me at the hospital. I'm not going to deliver this baby looking like I look. And I delivered my baby looking how I look. And I just, it was a mess. But the labor and delivery itself, it went pretty smooth. Most of my labor was throughout the course of the night. So once I got my epidural, we kind of just turned all the lights off and went to sleep. And we kind of got up around 6, 7 o'clock. By that point, I was like 10 centimeters dilated. It was like, let's go. The doctor came and I pushed, and Maddox came out at 7:08 a.m. He was 6 pounds 4 ounces, 19.25 inches long, and just my beautiful baby boy. Um, he does not look as much like Trevor as Marley does. I actually think he kind of looks like me. Some people say he does. Some people say he doesn't. Um, I guess it's a matter of personal opinion. Um, but that's my baby, Maddox Malik Milan. Um, as far as the name goes, I liked Maddox because all of my children's names will start with M. And I have a nephew whose name is Lennox, and I just think that it's so cute. So that was kind of the inspiration for Maddox. And then Malik is the name of one of Trevor's close friends, and it starts with an M. And for those that know, Marley's name is Marley Marie Milan, so it's MMM. Maddox is Maddox Malik Milan, also MMM. And so that's just where we got the name from. Um, as far as my after, what you doing? What you doing? As far as my after labor, my experience here in Memphis, Lord, it's okay. My experience, you want to get down? My experience here in Memphis was totally different than my experience in Jackson. I would say my labor was much more painful with Marley than it was with Maddox. I don't know if that's because she was induced and Maddox just kind of eased on out on his own, or what. Also, with Marley, my water was broken and I started contracting really hard way before I got my epidural. Not way before, but before I got my epidural. But with Maddox, they gave me my epidural before they broke my water and before my contractions got more intense. However, I feel like my epidural itself, it was more painful to get, I feel like, with Marley than with Maddox, but I feel like it worked much better with Marley than it did with Maddox. I could just feel way more with Maddox than I could with Marley. And I feel like it kind of made me scared to push because I was like, Lord, I'm going to push this baby out and I'm going to feel it and I'm going to just die. Like, I'm going to just die. Like, with Marley, I couldn't feel nothing. Like, nothing. And with Maddox, it was just different. But once I delivered him, I felt like no pain at all. Like, I had no need for any additional pain medication after the fact. Um, of course, there was some discomfort and stuff, you know, in my feminine regions just because I had pushed out a baby, but that didn't even last long. Like, now I'm like perfectly fine. Um, as if I didn't push out a baby. But like with Marley, as soon as the epidural was turned off, I was in so much pain. I needed the painkillers and all of that, and it was just rough. But it was just totally different this time around. I don't know if it's because I knew what to expect. I knew what was going to happen. You know, I don't know how or why, but it just completely was. So all in all, like, Marley was more painful to have than Maddox was. Um, but my hospital stay and all that was much better in Jackson than it was here in Memphis. So um, if I were ever to have another baby, which I probably won't at this point, at least not for a long time, I probably would like go back to Jackson and just take that trip every month, every 2 weeks, every week until it's time, and go deliver my baby in Jackson and come back to Memphis after the fact, because it just was it was an experience. I wouldn't say I had a bad experience with my doctor here in Memphis, but there was just a lot of like BS. Like at one point I called to reschedule my appointment with my doctor, and they told me she was no longer even with that medical group. So my mom had to like hunt this lady down and find out what medical group she was with, and I had to start going with them. Luckily, it worked out better because they accept all of my insurance versus the other doctor that only accepted like not all of them. But so it worked out, but it just I didn't feel like I was very well informed throughout the pregnancy, and again, she didn't show up, when I was in labor. And when I talked to her about it, she was just like, oh, I was on call the day before. So I was like exhausted. And I'm like, ma'am, you're an OBGYN. Like, your job is to deliver babies. Like, I'm needing to know, like, every Thursday night when somebody goes into labor, are you unavailable? And then because you're tired, like, you could have slept for a little while and then showed up. Like, you just didn't show up at all. And if that was going to be the case, I just wish you had told me that, the only reason why you wouldn't be present would be as if you were on call the day before. But that's neither here nor there, because my baby was delivered safely. I'm healthy. He's healthy. Marley's healthy. Trevor's healthy. We're all good. But I just kind of wanted to share with you guys um, that I had my baby for one, and kind of give you the reason why I hadn't posted a video recently. Also, because I've been in the house looking like a bum, like I haven't really done my hair, haven't been wearing makeup, my nails are shot, but that's all about to change. So, um, hopefully, more videos will be coming out soon. I'm thinking about starting a new series here on the YouTube channel, maybe called like Me Time with C, Me Time with Chanel, Me Time with Corri, whatever, or Girl Chat or Girl Talk, in which I, talk about my experience as a mother, or how I'm adapting to having two children, or just my postpartum experience, or just a weekly chat just to as a platform for me to air out how I feel and also kind of be transparent with you guys. So let me know in the comments down below if there's something that you would be interested in. But that's all I have for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for the patience that you've had with me and my family, because we keep starting and stopping, but I'm going to try to keep this train rolling from now on. But if you made it to the end of the story, you a real one, and I definitely appreciate your time. So thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, guys.